Overpower him.
Get ahead of me, Alden. Tom's gonna realize you know this stuff better than I do. The killer only needed one strike to kill him.
He was hit in the side of the head, which means he must have been turning to defend himself. Oh, sorry.
It's okay. Anyway, it took me a while to figure out how the killer got the cross and the body up. Don't have a lot of experience with crucifixions. It's an incredibly rare crime. But forensics always comes down to one overlooked thing. You just need patience and focus to find it.
How about these marks in the dirt?
Well, that's not exactly what I had in mind. Look, you see those ropes? He could have used any one of them. The killer nailed dots into the cross. He dug his post hole. Tied one end of the rope to the top of the cross, tossed the other end over a beam for leverage.
So one person could have done it alone.
Mm-hmm.
Floyd.
Or Colin. He was a travel scout. They took his manuals in the search. They used ropes in the travel scouts.
I just served a subpoena at Cedars for Floyd's medical records. William Dodson broke Floyd's jaw and cheekbone in a fight 2 months ago. Floyd was at the hospital at the time of the murder having facial reconstructive surgery.
So that's it. Floyd is out as a suspect. That leaves Colin all alone. The reason Keller never offered anybody a deal is because he thinks Colin did this by himself, and we just proved it.
Big news in the Topanga Canyon crucifixion case. Famed FBI profiler Donald Payne will now testify for the prosecution.
Agent Payne brings years of experience solving ritualistic murders with the Behavioral Analysis Unit at Quantico. I'm thrilled to work with him.
DAs like Keller hate asking for federal help.
He had no choice. Whatever he was hoping to find at the Clark's house during the search wasn't there. So he had to bring in relief. And juries love profilers.
Criminal profiling isn't science. It's stereotyping dressed up as science.
You could file a motion to try to exclude the profiler's testimony.
You can try, but it probably won't work. California law is so pro-prosecution, it practically requires courts to let profiling testimony in.
Then let me cross-examine the profiler. I know how to take this guy out. And Keller with him.
We tested it. It's clean. It's not the murder weapon. Thank you. The DA has no physical evidence tying Colin to the crucifixion itself, but the police found this in Colin's room. A giant maze of crucifixes, blood dripping from the bodies like rain, hundreds of them. Worthy victims all.
Deb always let him read whatever he wanted. I remember that book. Colin used to talk about it all the time. I mean, it gave him nightmares. That's when he started painting those bloody crosses.
Look, there's a big difference between having nightmares about this and reenacting it. Right?
The profiler is going to say this book gave you the idea to commit this crime. That's what they do.
Yes, I read this book when I was like 12. But I don't do things because I read them in a book.
But this did affect you, Colin. It gave you nightmares.
Well, not like the ones that I'm having now. They can't convict me for what I read and think, can they?
Colin's statement on the web hurt us, and we lost our motion to exclude the profiler. We expected to. Now we have an issue for appeal. Not that we're going to need to appeal. Just wanted you to know because you have to be ready. We're going to call you as character witnesses to refute the profiler.
Why? I mean, do you really think hearing from me is going to help?
We don't have a lot of choices here. We can't point the finger at Floyd. He has an alibi. Oh, nice poker face, Jack. Good thing there's no press here. We can't put you on the stand if you're going to go unglued.
Maybe that's for the best. I don't know what I'd say. I mean, don't ask me to do this.
Don't ask you. He's your son. Say he didn't do this. You won't do it?
Can we have the room for a minute? Trials are hard on everyone.
Don't make excuses for Jack. He's been like this for years.
Even before the trial?
We always fought about how to raise Colin. Jack thinks I'm too soft. I think Jack's intolerant, judgmental, cruel even. And lately it's gotten even worse. Jack's obsessed with righting the ship before Colin goes away to college.
What does that mean?
Bullies like William, the bad influences like Floyd. It drove Jack crazy that Colin wouldn't stand up for himself. Jack says he's weak. Sometimes he gets so frustrated over Colin, he gets crazy, yelling. There were times I was afraid he'd hurt Colin. Jack's a fixer, but he couldn't fix Colin. And it's killing him.
Are you insane? You think Dad is the killer?
I'm just saying maybe. Jack did tell us he hated Dawson for bullying his son. Plus, the spray paint cans were found in Jack's car. Jack's strong enough to have done it, and he didn't have a broken arm like Colin.
And then there's this. We found a posthole digger in the inventory. Jack's a landscape architect. He kept it locked in his shed with the rest of his landscaping tools. Colin didn't have a key.
The killer had to dig a hole for the cross somehow, and this post-hole digger might explain those gouges you found in the dirt, Tom.
But why spray the pentagrams? Was he trying to frame Colin?
No, I think he was trying to frame Floyd. Floyd and Colin both tagged pentagrams, and Jack hated Floyd for being a bad influence on his son.
We're thinking that Jack tried to kill William and get rid of Floyd at the same time by framing Floyd for it, and now he can't tell us because it got out of hand.
I don't buy it. Jack's upset about Colin, but he's no killer. And plus, Dad told us Jack was out of town.
Yeah, working, which sounds like a pretty soft alibi to me.
There's a problem. We represent the whole family. That means we can't point the finger at Jack even if he is guilty. Can't incriminate our own client.
Colin is the one that's vile. We have to do the right thing for him. We need to at least look into whether Jack did it.
Do it. Fast. Trial starts tomorrow. If the evidence points to Jack, then we blame Jack. Are you willing to go after the father to save the son?
Your Honor, at this time, the prosecution calls its first witness, FBI agent Donald Payne.
Objection, Your Honor. Move that this witness be excluded as unfairly prejudicial.
Mr. Nicholson, I've already denied your in limine motion to exclude this evidence. Your motion is denied. Don't raise it again.
God, I hate making objections. I know I'm gonna lose.
Tactical objections are part of the game. Now the jury knows to take the profiler with a grain of salt.
Jack Clark's not the killer.
You sure?
You sound disappointed.
I am. For Colin's sake.
Jack used his Amex to pay for dinner in Fresno at 11 p.m. He couldn't have gotten back and done the crime in time. I'll go tell Tom.
No, don't.
Why not?
If Tom thinks Jack did it, he'll be more sure that Colin's innocent. He'll do a better job.
According to your profile, the killer was most likely young.
Statistically, most ritualistic killers are younger. They're also smart, but impressionable. Often they're obsessed with death imagery and religious themes.
Does Colin Clark fit your profile of the killer in this case?
Yes. He's very smart, but unpopular, lonely, which he resents. He grew up with an inchoate, confused religious identity. His crucifixion paintings and pentagrams were his role-playing. Sadly, he turned his fantasies of death into reality.
Thank you, Agent. No further questions.
You described Colin as young, immature, and into dark fantasy role-playing.
That's right.
So when the police tricked him into talking about this case on the internet, he was young and impressionable enough to fall into their trap.
Objection.
Your Honor, Mr. Keller has proffered this witness as an expert.
The objection is overruled.
I suppose your client was vulnerable to be tricked, yes.
So what he told the police could have been just fantasy role-playing and not a confession.
That is possible.
You said Colin fits the profile perfectly, right?
Yes.
Everything fits. His connection to his grandparents, his love of sports, his artistic talent.
Well?
Did you leave those things out because they didn't fit your profile?
I didn't think they were as relevant as the death-themed movies and books he owned.
Like Silence of the Lambs.